President Xi, I am young American girl from North Brooklyn District of New York Province. Our illegitimate government has been unable to stock stores with basic necessities. Our elections are sham and ongoing despite the quarantine order. We are proud people, we Americans. We share many values with our hardworking brothers in People's Republic of China. We yearn to taste freedom. Please, President Xi, send your forces to liberate my people.
Never in the history of the world have the merchants of obscenity had available to them the modern facilities for disseminating this filth. Disseminating this filth. The onslaught of the communist masters of deceit.
Pinko, Commie, Slutz. So that was the Oliver Twist version of that?
Please.
I mean, I don't know, Matt.
Can I have some more, please?
Can I have some more? Can I have some communism, please?
First of all, my inspiration was the Yugoslavia bulldozer revolution. Thank you very much. Great first 6 minutes. Bunny, will you introduce us?
Hi, welcome. Welcome to Pinko, Commie, Slutz. We're in the quarantine now. Yeah, we're remote. We're all in our own pods. Did any of you guys watch The Circle? No, this reference is for no one who's actually on this podcast. But
Are we like Voltron, where we each have our own leg?
yes. Or like the Power Rangers, where we each turn into a robot animal that then can combine to make a bigger robot. Okay, so guys, who's got coronavirus?
We all do.
I feel okay. I'm just waiting to see. I am of the belief that I am immune to all things, so it'll be a real fun one if I get it.
Yeah, I got like pretty good like white dude energy where I just kind of assume everything's gonna just work itself out and it'll be fine, because generally that assumption has always proven true in the past.
What if coronavirus is just another way to describe how you feel under capitalism?
Coronavirus knows no race or gender.
All right, Joe Biden.
Or LGBT.
We're at war with the virus.
It is.
War.
No, we're not. Well, that's the thing about it. And I commented earlier today. I'm not saying I didn't maybe steal this from a more popular Twitter account on Love Twitter, but I commented earlier today that 2 days ago, a man should have shown up to my apartment and said, "Hey, you're getting drafted to work at the new hospital bed factory we just opened. Show up tomorrow at 9 a.m. And I would have to do that or go to jail as a traitor to our country against this great war. There should be a great patriotic war mobilization against the coronavirus. We should be every goddamn concert venue, and especially the Brooklyn Bowl, should have been turned back into the factory that it was before gentrification, and should just be pumping out hand sanitizer like no end. And we should have these like $30 an hour factory jobs that you're forced to work at. That should be the thing that happens.
You mean millionaires shouldn't be suing people for 3D printing their own solutions?
They should not. No, we should actually introduce war communism.
Those companies should be parody killed, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I guess coronavirus, it's been a fun week to kind of still think you were a Democrat, you know?
Yeah, was there an election on Tuesday? I have no idea. I didn't know. I didn't look.
The polls weren't quarantined.
Yeah, well, what I believe happened is the young people who give a shit stayed home to protect these elderly motherfuckers who were like, we're going to kill them. I don't know. This will be horribly offensive in 6 months, but wouldn't it be funny if they all die before November and then like
I think that would be hilarious.
Yeah, and then like Biden would just kind of like eke past Trump on like a general basis that people just skew towards Trump. Yeah, I mean, the real fact of the matter is every previous primary in this season, I have been on every like Real Clear Politics, 538. I've been on all that shit, looking desperately as the polls come in. And this time I didn't even bother because I'm worried about the fact that I'm not going to work anymore. And that's weird.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I, of all people who actually does give a shit about these primaries, did not even like bother to look at the primary results as they came in. People who are more marginal don't give a shit. Like, they won't show up to vote. It's an absolute shame.
Well, I think there's an assumption that the primaries are sort of over.
Yeah, because the mainstream media keeps saying it essentially over and over again.
And now they're not in the news at all because, again, we're in a nationwide lockdown. And more people are talking about that.
Like for me, I forgot there even was a primary. Usually I'm really excited about it. I check the results and it's like, oh, there's a primary.
Well, 3 states canceled. Ohio, what was the other ones?
Louisiana.
Yeah, Louisiana, and I think Georgia's in a week. But
I know, but Florida, Illinois, and Arizona all did theirs. But tons of people didn't show up to run the polls, so it was a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
Some of them didn't even have voting
polls. No legitimacy that can be had from this.
Well, I see the primary has been done since everyone else dropped out on Super Tuesday.
Yeah, but at the very least, you still had to talk about the primaries, but now we're all talking about how it's literally zombie land. Even if the primaries were like, quote unquote, by the nerds competitive, we wouldn't be talking about them because everyone's more concerned about the fact that all their jobs have closed. And
speaking of which, how's everybody's jobs doing?
Well, I'm working from home at my day job, but all of my no more comedy for a year, it looks like. Great. I mean, like, that's...
My job's been pushed back till April 1st. Now, there is talk that because I'm a bartender, you might be able to get a grant from the National Financial Aid place. They have an application you can put in and possibly get some money for it, but that's kind of shaky.
Yeah.
Application.
Yeah, they said that they're doing very slowly because of the high amount.
Yeah, of course, because fucking...
Fuck, we're all gonna die.
Yeah, all this sort of means testing and apply for this grant and fucking whatever bullshit that's being proposed is all ridiculous in any context, you know? And like, not one fucking billionaire has done shit. I just want to point out to...
Jack Ma?
Well, yeah, not one American billionaire, or even one who just lives here. Elon Musk, fucking dipshit.
No, he's done nothing. And like, even from a perfectly like good PR standpoint,
exactly.
He's pretty opportunist.
Yeah, if you're an opportunist.
But be an opportunist that does some material good, you fuck. Like, I don't know why all rich people don't go like crazy with the power they could have just changing people's lives with very small amounts of money to them. Like
you built a little kid sub for people in another country.
Yeah.
And like,
I mean, he didn't, but like, yeah, you said he did. Could you at least say...
Well, he did say today, if we're running low on respirators, they will start making them, and then everybody, of course,
just make them now. Just
tweet it back. Yeah,
I saw you retweet that. Tweet back at him. Well, it's happening.
I did tweet that. Actually, yeah, as did several people. I wasn't the only one, obviously.
Okay. Prior to these primaries, I will go on record and say I very much overestimated the chances of Cory Booker because I remember Cory Booker as the mayor of Newark, And he knew how to do all of this shit. I remember 2010, 2011, I think, there was a snowstorm like that just took out the Northeast/Mid-Atlantic. And like Cory Booker was just tweeting the entire fucking time, pictures of him digging snow out of fucking constituents' driveways. People would tweet, hey, Cory, I'm like snowed in or whatever. And Cory would be like, give me your address on the DMs. And then you'd see another tweet like fucking 20 minutes later from this dude just saying like, Cory Booker showed up at my house. Cory Booker knew how to do that bullshit.
Yeah.
And as a result, I thought he'd do better in the primaries. But like, Elon Musk should be that guy. At the very least, I should be complaining that Elon Musk is hitting home runs and he doesn't deserve them. Instead, I'm complaining that Elon Musk is too fucking stupid to know how to hit.
And also, the Republicans are doing laps around the Democrats on this issue.
It's gross. Yeah.
They are just doing laps around the corporate Democrats, and it is fucking infuriating.
It's infuriating, but I want to big ups, of course, our boy Bernie. But Maxine Waters' proposals, pretty encompassing. But all the other Democrats are obsessed with means testing in this time, which is just going to be murder. Means testing is murder. And I cannot believe that they think it is even feasible to process any type of means testing for millions of people right now.
Literally, who is working in the offices that normally take these applications and then decides what to do with the application? I put in for unemployment.
I'm sure some people are working from home.
Yeah, sure. And we all joke about how, like, the lines at the DMV are long. How fucking long are the lines at the unemployment office when the unemployment office is closed and everyone's working from home?
All my friends are losing their job. Like, all my friends are losing their jobs. Getting back to how our job situation. By the way, my job is popping off. I'm humble brag. People are. It turns out the pharmaceutical delivery industry is like going gangbuster right now.
Who knew drugs were so popular?
Yeah, I'm a professional drug dealer, and people want that shit. And I am.
Yeah, no, like medicine is like really.
I am like having my best week ever. I might get a bonus from this week. That's how good my week is going.
Yeah. Yeah, well, good for you. Steve is literally the character from Death Stranding, I'm pretty sure. I haven't actually played the game. But, you know, he's basically delivering medicine across the wasteland right now.
Speaking of means testing.
Kamala Harris, $500.
Yeah, it's like the Democrats are like, how can we whittle this down? And
for a family, not even a person. Family.
It should be pointed out that wasn't even a corona response. That was a bill she had just in the back burner that she's now doing, it would. Yeah, no. Which, to be fair, so would Medicare for all. Bernie gets to say oh, hey, by the way, Medicare for all, which I've been saying for years, would help. With this, it's she had this dumb fucking bill on the back burner. She's saying oh, it would help now. It's not a corona response bill. It's
just a shitty UBI thing.
Yeah, and I want to point out her tweet said up to $500
per family.
Per working family. Who knows what working family is versus not a working family or not a family but a worker, or what up to $500 means. There's a
shitty cardio
words that are doing a lot of work very quietly in that sense.
Okay, have you guys been watching Governor Cuomo daily updates about this? Because it is hilarious.
Well, guys, I didn't realize that Governor Cuomo and Chris Cuomo were brothers until did you see them? They were on. He was on Chris Cuomo, and then they got into a fight about who his mom's favorite, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, yeah,
and then
they do that cute shit all the time.
I was like, I didn't know this.
No, for the record, I also remember not knowing that and then learning that and feeling like, it's like,
well, they look alike.
It's like
they
when
really
you
do.
realize for the first time that the Beatles is spelled differently than the insect is, and it's actually a pun. And like people go, oh shit, I didn't know that, and it's like you feel like you should have.
Well, no.
But I was watching Cuomo give an update. I think it was the first day of the curfew, which I think was Tuesday or Monday. It was like 45 minutes long, and he goes, "Yo, Gino or whoever it was, get me a beer." And then he's like, You know what? The bars are going to close at 8 o'clock. Get me 2 beers.
Does anyone remember Bloomberg during Sandy?
No, what happened?
Every like passive aggressive nebbishy Jew thing like you can think of, he was just like doing like, well, I suggested that people like they don't go outside, and just today earlier someone was walking outside by Central Park. It was very lovely, but then a branch which was hanging loose fell on him, cracked his head open. He's dead now. And the mayor's office was saying that maybe going outside not such a good idea at this time. Some people ignore that. One person ignored that. He's dead now. So I'm just saying. Yeah, no, it was great. That was like my favorite
Not
thing about
quite as funny as Christy.
Sandy. It was Bloomberg during Hurricane Sandy. Not anything he did, but just what he said and the way he said it is my favorite Bloomberg.
Oh man. Well, guys, you know what? Now's the time to talk about this. Tulsi. Aloha.
Also, Tulsi and Yang, like fuck everyone who ever liked those people. You're all fucking stupid and I'm smart.
Yeah, no.
You're all so stupid and not smart. You heard it here first, folks. A massive goodbye to all of our Yang Gang and Tulsi Head listeners.
I
still got the orb.
Like people, Marianne's the one person who
has integrity.
Yes, was that exact outsider individual who wasn't Bernie but had a message to spread, and she actually believed in that message. And
I liked her in the debate.
Yes, she was great in the debate.
It was wonderful.
But Tulsi and Yang, anyone who ever fell for their fucking grift, I'm sorry, I don't care. I don't care about bringing Yang people over. I never thought that was a possible demographic. They were always fucking useless. And Marianne Williamson, a cult member who sold a culty self-help book, I
disavow that statement.
I love her to death, but that's not the least accurate thing in the world way to describe her, has more integrity than either of them.
I have to take credit for introducing Marlowe to Marianne Williamson because I watched her interview on CNN.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Way before the primary started, I'm like, this is my second choice, Marlowe. You got to watch this woman.
Yeah, and I remember him describing it. Yeah, no, 100%.
And I was like, she's not a socialist, but she's a social democrat, and all she does is say awesome things about spirits.
Department of Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100%. Good for her. She actually endorsed Bernie at the end of the day. She's actually not giving this who can best defeat Trump bullshit. She actually believes in what the fuck she's saying. I might think she has sort of shallow ideas about certain things, but I believe her. I think she gives a shit. I've never thought that Gabbard or Yang gave a flying fuck. And the idea that they were the principled outsiders has always been horseshit.
Has Warren endorsed anybody at this point?
No, she's not going to. It's good. She's pushing the halt or forgive student debt during the crisis thing, which I'm like, great, but...
Asking people about prisons.
Well, yeah, it's not going to, Like, it's going to help her people, the professional managerial class of people whose biggest struggle is that they have these high student loan payments, which are terrible and suck. But right now, come on, give us your money.
I mean,
it's literally the most logical, simple solution to it. And the fact that we have so-called leaders who are still resistant is hilariously callous. They're still holding out that some miracle is going to happen. Everything's going to go back to normal in 10 days and someone's going to cut a big profit here or some shit, you know? Look, it's okay to think about maybe keeping a list of these people.
Tulsi was a complete fucking failure from the beginning.
Who did she speak to?
She had one really good debate, and that was one of the first ones.
She spoke to crazy people, and also Mike Tracy, and
yeah, that's true.
And also that thing I sent.
He's
earlier.
not taking it well, guys.
No,
he's not doing well.
You know, my problem, and it's a good thing that Rick's not here, but the Kyle Kalinske, Mike Tracy wing of the party, which believes that the Jimmy Dore, that the left has overextended itself by being both too far to the left socially while pushing for leftist economic policies. And their solution to this is that we should maintain semi-social democratic reforms while pushing a socially conservative agenda to get what they project the yokels on board with this in order to win the fanciful middle of the country that they believe in.
There's also the aspect that they're not even that far to the left, so economically, which is their trying selling point of class reductionism. If you're transphobic but you believe in Medicare for all, come on board because we can separate those issues. Because what the fuck does Marx have to say? Yeah, they're just kind of conservative, and they're not even that interesting. Conservative.
Yeah, no, it is this idea that you have to make deals with the socially conservative wing of the party in order to push quote unquote progressive legislation through. Yeah, barely left politics through a very socially conservative country because they believe it to be socially conservative. And that's all bullshit. That's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit.
And that was Tulsi's entire thing.
That was also the tweet I shared on the group chat earlier. It was basically this is what happens when you oppose capitalism, but you don't have anything that you can feel comfortable enough to believe in. And you think that, Marxists are too dogmatic and the rose emoji Tumblr lefts are too woke. So you continuously just don't actually push for anything and you just criticize and become a contrarian.
Mike Tracy, the contrarian's contrarian. Yeah, he's not doing well with this whole thing.
Marlowe and I both personally know Mike Tracy.
Knew him at some point.
At some point. Mike Tracy, for those that don't know.
Mike Tracy. You might have seen him on Twitter or that time Maxine Waters beat him up. Remember that guy?
That was the greatest weekend of my life. Steven woke me up in my room to tell me that happened, and it took about an hour of me being on Facebook and Twitter and realizing the gravity of it, and that was amazing.
What's his most recent tweet?
All right, I have one of Mike Tracy's tweets here. I know it's hard for some people to believe, but Tulsi's present vote and frequent appearances on Fox News were never evidence of her being a secret Republican or Trump supporter. Rather, she consistently declared her commitment to defeating Trump. Pundits choose to ignore this.
Oh, wow. What a cogent analysis.
Well, that's the thing with Tulsi Gabbard is...
She said...
She's the Green Day of the Democrats. She's
She's even got a cool hair stripe.
Right. She's punk in many quotes. At the end of the day, she's a boring fucking Democrat. And the entire mystique about her is purely conjecture and like marketing. There's nothing special about her. There isn't.
Oh, wait a second. She is hot. Okay.
She surfs.
Okay, yeah.
She does surfing and exercise videos.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is like how my favorite.
Also, she looks like she'd like choke you out with her thighs.
Okay.
Like, and people like that. I'm just saying.
My favorite senator in high school was Patrick Leahy, because he's a senator from Vermont who's really into the Grateful Dead, and he has in his Senate office just a fucking library of taped Dead shows. At the same time, he voted for various Disney-sponsored bills about copywriting that would punish the very tapers who tape the shows he has in his Senate offices. And that's Tulsi Gabbard, but just for, like, fucking insane people. Like, she's not special. She's just a fucking boring goddamn Democrat.
I would call her a centrist, but that's me.
Well, her big claim to fame was endorsing Bernie in 2016, and
She did do that.
She quit the DNC and endorsed Bernie and got like mad street props because she was a woman of color that
Opposed Hillary.
And just on those superficial things alone got a lot of props as a progressive candidate. Then people started looking into her and found some things they didn't like that she then defended for the rest of her fucking campaign, along with Mike Tracy, who like seppuku'd himself because like somebody called her a Russian asset, and that someone was Hillary goddamn Clinton.
Which is also stupid. Hillary shouldn't have called her that because, again, she's a boring fucking Democrat. She's not even interesting enough to destroy the Democratic Party.
And despite her attractiveness, like levels that one might project upon her.
Oh, are you saying you wouldn't hit it? Is that an official statement here?
I am remaining Switzerland on this issue, but I will say
Patrick Leahy is a tall drink of man. I'm going to go on record and say that.
I will not go on record and say I watched any of her exercise videos.
But you are aware.
But I am aware.
You are aware they exist.
I am aware that they exist. She is the most
Chafee levels.
She is one of the most uncharismatic people on that stage in the debate. And that is saying a lot. Like, even Andrew fucking Yang, with all of his gesturing, had more fucking charisma than
talker.
His middle management, no tie, math pin man at a projector screen while on a debate stage had more charisma than Tulsi Gabbard, who was like somebody took a Xanax and decided to say mean things about Kamala Harris.
I mean, you want to compare Tulsi, she's the Dennis Kucinich from the 04 election.
Wait a second. Dennis Kucinich had that really hot redhead wife.
Oh, yeah, no, he still does. And, like, we all joke about Dennis.
I like how I'm introducing all of these
characters
things.
from A Midsummer's Night Dream. And, like, Dennis Kucinich is Puck, and then, like, his wife happens to be the tall, hot elf from Midsummer's Night Dream. I don't actually know that shit.
They're fairies, excuse me.
Yeah, and elf and fairy was used interchangeably at the time. I do know about the history of Nordic.
Not in Midsummer Night's Dream, my friend.
All right, whatever.
It is. It's specific.
Well, hey, I'm the English major here. You're the theater major, and you're the political theorist, and Matt's the Bart. What was your major, Matt? It was
nutrition.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Professional managerial class in the works with our college degrees.
Yeah, well, Matt's definitely the most pro of the group.
No!
Oh.
I'm the delivery boy of the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, yeah. Actually, okay, let me rephrase that.
Essential.
You have a job right now.
I'm the people that are at the front of the whatever thing is that you put in front of the incoming.
The front lines?
Yeah.
The front lines?
Well, I was going to say, like, that way that you line up the armies so to the phalanx? No, the phalanx. The phalanx.
The
Yeah, you
phalanx?
should have just gone with front line because me and Buddy are going to geek out about how that's wrong.
Phalanx.
Are we done with Tulsi and Yang?
Yeah.
Yang is on CNN just being sad he didn't endorse Bernie.
Oh,
Yeah, before we move on,
okay, so
I
that
do
Yang
wanna-
tweet, I just want to real quick say I understand what Yang was saying. It's stupid, but I get what he was saying, because what he was saying was, I wish I could have endorsed Bernie because I was going to endorse whoever was the Democratic nominee. He wasn't saying, like, I wish I would have endorsed Bernie because I should have endorsed Bernie instead of Biden. He was saying that I was going to endorse whoever the Democratic nominee was, and I wish that was Bernie, but it wasn't.
Well, I don't
pretty
know,
sad.
because the Orb Gang update, we did contact Andrew Yang's future self. We delivered a message to Andrew Yang that he should have endorsed Bernie, and he will regret it forever. And I think he does regret it in more than just the if only he were the nominee.
I don't, because again, I don't think Andrew Yang was at all interesting. I think he was a entrepreneur who had a vanity political campaign. Like, he's Elon Musk if Elon Musk was less successful at being Elon Musk, so he had to have a vanity political project to be Elon Musk. That's all he is.
He's the Silicon Valley representation.
I don't think he he doesn't regret a goddamn thing.
He got a job at CNN.
Yeah, he would prefer Trump not be the president, but in the meantime, he's just going to be a anti-Trumper on CNN who will just sit there and give the anti-Trump Democrat perspective.
Will he
Well,
still plug
now-
CGI?
Of course, he thinks he invented it
Yeah,
himself,
And it's like,
and he's taking credit for any suggestion of direct aid right now. It's pathetic. He's not the first person to suggest direct aid. In fact, lots of people have been saying for a long time.
Far-right people
in
were
fact,
the ones that invented direct aid.
Mises and Hayek. Yeah, that was Hayek's baby. Hayek, if you don't know, was classic Chicago school, Austrian school economist who was taken on by the Reagan campaign, generally given credit for inventing Reaganomics, and then on the more dark side, he's given credit for being one of the quote-unquote Chicago boys. This is the historic term, look it up, for the economic advisors who came onto Pinochet's regime.
Pinochet, that famous fascist dictator.
Right, yes. Disappeared many people.
Threw communists out of helicopters.
Yeah, that's where that meme comes from. But Hayek was one of the people who was brought on to advise the Pinochet regime on how to do their economics. It's often called the Chilean miracle. Other subsequent looks at it have said that it actually wasn't that much of a miracle. Terrible right-wing ideologue, didn't originally, but very much latched on to UBI as a solution. UBI is not inherently leftist, and it is, in fact, absent a bigger context of leftist ideas. It can be a very right-wing reactionary policy.
It's not unusual for right-wing ideologues to take their weird, restrictive, social conservative beliefs and wrap it up in something that is some form of material improvement for whatever people they're trying to sway. Not unlike, what gangs or cartels do when they want to win over a community. But not all direct aid is in that area And a lot of when I talk about direct aid, I'm usually talking about how I am not a fan of most philanthropy because it's a scam.
Liberal communism.
And if an individual wealthy person wants to help, they should engage in some kind of direct aid. They should pay someone's thing. They should just give somebody in need money and let that person decide what to do with it, because that is the best way to help people. That's like proven. That's not even actually something that it's just pie in the sky, beautiful dreaming. It's actually the most logical approach. And in the light of what's going on right now, it is super the simplest, most logical approach to band-aiding right now, along with, of course, freezing rents, etc.,
Well,
and so forth.
That's how, like Romney was the first one to propose $1,000.
Yes, Romney.
Yeah.
Yes, I think UBI might be a good thing at the moment.
Sure.
But, like, it's got to come from the left. And it also has to come with rent freeze. Like, rent freeze first. I would much prefer rent freeze before UBI.
Like,
Yeah, because
Absolutely.
it should be a plan, and it should be something that incentivizes that people don't endanger themselves and others during this time. And it's not smart to like allow these loopholes, essentially, even in places where they've tried to be like, oh, no non-essential businesses can be open. Like, I have a friend who lives in Pennsylvania, and GameStop is like, no, we're not closing, we're essential. GameStop.
Yeah.
They're asking their employees to come in for fucking what could it be? What is it in Pennsylvania? $7.25 an hour? Fucking, you can't trust the businesses, is all I'm saying. So I'd rather right now see more things directly safeguarding most people, which would be
What we should also be doing is utilizing our vacant houses, vacant buildings in New York City, just house people.
Oh,
Get
hell
people
yeah.
off the
Those
streets.
people in California commandeered those empty homes, and fuck yeah. Like, it's time to do that stuff.
Well, also what we should really do, I agree that GameStop is an essential business, but
Shut up!
it should be treated as such.
You can do that online now.
We should give these workers, make them direct government employees.
No! What?
No.
Give them
Nationalized
hazard
GameStop.
pay. Give them we should also give them special training to treat the coronavirus and be able to cure it.
All right,
We should-
you need to battle Matt Christman on this.
Here's my thing. I think that I agree with the Bernie Sanders idea of using the post office as a bank. I agree with turning certain aspects into infrastructural uses. And I think GameStop should be a part of that. I think that the distribution of entertainment products during this time is an essential thing. And I think these people should be treated like the heroes they are. GameStop employees are braver
They are coders.
groups. And what
They're braver than the
Focus
troops. We can.
is making GameStop heroes. I should have a poster of a GameStop hero on my wall right now.
If you can't see me, I'm putting my face mask over my mouth.
Selling Nintendo Switches to the people of Jersey City so they can play Animal Crossing through these trying times. They should be treated like heroes. I do not think GameStop should force them to continue working. I think this is why we need to nationalize GameStop and make these people the heroes that they deserve to be. International.
Oh, yeah. On my game show last year, I put this behind a SpongeBob clip.
Yeah, it's.
Communist SpongeBob.
I mean,
Yeah, there's that one episode where SpongeBob advocates for workers' rights.
right. Well, the Squidward, the gentle worker shall be oppressed no longer. Yeah, like the International was written at a time where like internationalism was a quintessential part of the workers' movement. And It wasn't a national anthem to the Soviet Union because defending the worker state was not communism. Being a worker first and a member of a country second was an essential idea of Marxism.
Orb Gang, Astral Plane, anything is possible. Maybe we're downloading crystalline bodies. That's my update from the people who believe
we are holding Tulsi
aliens
in a matrix.
We are holding Tulsi in the matrix. She's in an egg, okay? We've put her in an egg where she can harm none. Actually, an interesting fact about the Orb Gang online is they were never for Tulsi. They always had a bad vibe about her, and I just think it goes to show Orb Gang's a real psychic entity out here.
Not only is Marianne Williamson the only of those outsider candidates to actually have integrity, her fan base also the only fan base of those outsider candidates to have integrity.
Oh, it's absolutely like the response from people who've been swarmed by the Orb Gang is always like, oh my goodness, this is pleasant. Like, because it's just a lot of people being like, take my energy. Yeah, good vibes only. Take these orbs. May you harm none is like the harshest thing that a Marianne supporter will say. And it's weirdly effective. Like, I've seen a lot of people who were kind of, when Marianne was still actually in the race, I've seen a lot of people who were really dismissive and like smug and condescending about Marianne sort of soften up towards her because of this response from the Orb Gang online. I wouldn't have figured it was possible that any kind of like not hokey sort of kindness would even be translatable on the internet, but Orb Gang did.
Yeah, anyway, this discussion about the Orb Gang does feed into my thesis that we will never talk about hunters.
Hunters. Marlowe just finished it. First thoughts, Marlowe.
Okay, so my general thesis. Number one, Jordan Peele doesn't know how to play chess. Number two, Ava Kovner was correct. Number three, is this how black people felt about Django? I want to know. Number four, literally you could figure out this ending by thinking about what the dumbest fucking creative decision one could make would be and assuming that the writers just went with that. And those are my general thesis on hunters.
You read that from Facebook, and you can go to on Facebook to go find that.
Not because no one knows who I am. I'm just some and
yeah.
Bleep it out.
Yeah. Anyway, so on number one, Jordan Peterson does not know how to play chess. And you say
Jordan Peele or Peterson?
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peterson.
Sorry.
You know Jordan Peterson. You know Jordan Peterson is dead.
Jordan Peterson doesn't know how to play chess.
Jordan Peterson might know how to play chess. I don't know. He has not, in all his Jungian bullshit, like compared something to a chess thing, and I find that surprising. Jordan Peele, however, also doesn't know how to play chess. And Bunny, I was going to actually bring to your apartment a chessboard tonight and all this. Within the world of chess in media, there are many tropes that we come across regularly, and you can laugh at them. But, like, whatever, there are normal tropes. In Hunters, they invent whole new tropes to have about chess that I didn't think was possible. I didn't think it was possible to mention the Queen's Gambit.
I told you that was going to happen.
Yeah. Okay, so Steve is my fellow chess nerd on this.
I told you that they were going to make a metaphor about the Queen's Gambit that would anger you, that I was watching it, and I thought Marlowe's going to be so angry about this.
Right, like, okay, so most chess in movies, it's like you define your smart character because he's good at chess. And you know, they're playing a game, and like the main dude who's your dude goes like, oh, checkmate. And then the other guy goes, what? I didn't know about that. And that's the thing. And like, you know, if you know how chess works, it doesn't work that way. Most people who play chess can see a checkmate coming. It's a thing you look for in the game. No one's surprised about a checkmate. But we understand from movies that's a common chess trick. You never have in a movie that has chess in it someone say the Queen's Gambit, which is a thing. It's a thing in chess. It's an opening in chess. And then make a metaphor about that. But the metaphor relies on an understanding of the Queen's Gambit that is not at all related to what the Queen's Gambit remotely is in the game.
I warned you about this.
Yeah, and I was looking out for it, and I was not disappointed. It was the craziest goddamn thing I ever heard.
You know, I think they portray chess in Hunters, but also other media. They portray chess the same way they do football sometimes, where they'll be like, yeah, this weird trick play is totally possible.
Right.
You know, if you're not actually in the know about what the rules are, you might be someone who thought you could do that in football. I'm not speaking about myself and assumptions I made based on movies as a child. But
okay, so the line that I'm discussing is this. The Queen's Gambit. It's a strategy the masters use. You attack from the very first move, advance your queen, put constant pressure on your opponent until they fold. Plus, it only really works if your opponent makes a mistake. Every fucking thing that just said does not describe the Queen's Gambit at all. Okay, it's an opening, it's not a strategy, but normies don't know that difference, so fine, call it a strategy. The masters everyone fucking uses it. It's the most common fucking opening off D4.
It is.
It's so common that it's never called the Queen's Gambit. It's called QGA or QGD, and by that I mean it's called QGD.
Nobody does QDA.
Yeah, it's given an acronym of Queen's Gambit accepted or Queen's Gambit declined. Everyone plays declined. It's called QGD. No one even calls it the Queen's Gambit.
Shout out to Jan Gustafsson.
Yeah, it's just the QGD. You
Nazis.
But
you attack from the very first move. You do not attack from the very first move. You advance your queen. You do not advance your queen in the Queen's Gambit. It's called the Queen's Gambit because the pawn in front of your queen moves. But the queen doesn't fucking move.
Implication, though, and I will push back on this a little bit, is that the idea of the Queen's Gambit is to open up the queen side to allow the queen more attacking space.
Sure.
Which could be what they were referencing, even though I don't think they were.
That's extremely generous, but okay.
I'm extremely generous with these metaphors about chess.
Right, yeah, okay, I can see that. You put constant pressure on your opponent until they fold. I would argue...
King's Gambit.
No, yeah, exactly. The Queen's Gambit is a very passive opening. It's a very safe, what's called in chess terms, solid opening, where you keep your position tight, you keep that shit closed, you fucking maneuver around the back ranks, and you wait for your moment. It's not putting constant pressure on anything. And the last but not least, plus it only works if your opponent makes a mistake. Bullshit. It's the most tried and true opening off D4 that exists. There is completely great opening. You don't need to hope your opponent makes it.
I want to just point out that Soviets were way better at chess than any other country.
Also communism is better chess.
Yeah, better chess. But I agree with everything Marlowe said because I taught Marlowe how to play chess.
Sure, yeah. No, Steve gets to, yeah.
Then
there's the Fool's Mate, which is the other half of Hunter's chess we need to talk about. So I mentioned earlier, there's a trope in chess. That trope is the surprise checkmate. You're playing a game, and the main character, the scamp that he is, pulls off a checkmate against this other dude, and he's like, oh no, I was tricked, and this guy is smart, and the audience should understand he's smart. In Hunters, that happens in the first episode. And Al Pacino says, checkmate? After 2 moves? In a very Jewish manner.
Again, use Marlowe's voices to the full advantages.
Yeah.
How do you get checkmate in 2 moves?
Okay, here's the thing. There's a way to get a checkmate in 2 moves.
Pretty rare, though.
Exactly one way to get a checkmate in 2 moves. It's called a fool's mate. The reason it's called a fool's mate is because you must be a fool in order to get fool's mate. Al Pacino's character is displayed not necessarily as a chess master, but as a person who has played chess before. He owns a chess set, a very decorative chess set, in his palatial fucking Jewish mansion in the Upper West Side. You get the idea he's played chess once or twice, and he opens literally with Steve, is it like D4, F3? Yeah, okay.
FD3, E5, then G4, Queen.
I haven't actually
Queen H5, checkmate.
Yeah. So he's playing white.
Marlowe just went over to the chessboard.
F3.
Wait, if you enjoyed this chess talk, add us on Twitter at Pinko Slutz with a Z.
Hey, but don't forget about Pinko Steve.
That's Steve, Pinko Steve, and I'm Bunny Themelis, which is my whole fucking name. So check the show notes. Good luck with that.
He was not.
Marlowe did not want to talk about Hunters. He just wanted to talk about chess. I think it's readily apparent.
He was not fooled by a checkmate. He was fooled by the only 2-move checkmate.
Commie, Slutz, Pinko.